You'll be pleased to know that the first and most basic thing you have to do is get insurance for your club. Insurance takes care of 99.9% of issues that can arise. Public liability insurance, and the second thing that provides protection to almost all clubs is the legislation which says that there is volunteer immunity in incorporated associations, and that is that people acting in a volunteer capacity can't be held personally liable for their actions. The incorporated association or the club will be responsible, firstly, and secondly, even if the club's held responsible, then it's covered by the insurance. So that's number one. Number two is that people need to be aware of the difference between the board and others within the organisation. The board is responsible for the policy, a 2 or 3 year strategy. Let's take the club to having 25 member teams rather than 10 teams we've got at the moment. That's a broad strategy objective and putting things in place to make sure that happens. And then there might be coaches and other people who put that in place on a day-to-day basis. As we mentioned before, a key thing is having a look at your constitution, making sure it says what you want it to say, making sure it works for you. That is, that you want to take the organisation in a certain direction and make sure it allows you to do all the things that you're doing, because not surprisingly, many times people aren't aware of the restrictions that are provided in a constitution. And there have been cases involving a club close to my heart, Richmond, and the Flea. When he was coaching down in Tasmania, players were suspended. They took the suspensions to court and found that the Constitution didn't allow anyone to be suspended at all. So all of the suspensions that had come in the past were illegal. So by looking at your Constitution, you know what it does, whether it's there and proper and working for you. The other thing is to listen to and be responsive to the needs and comments of your members. Review the rules and constitution on a regular basis, taking into account feedback from members, referees, coaches. Educate coaches and referees on their legal responsibilities, which also shields you, for example, as a club, if you've got coaches, giving them direction on what they need to do and what they need to avoid doing, because that'll again provide protection for you as a board member. And the other thing that I'm a big fan of is strategic planning and regular reviews. Have a plan for where the organisation is going and what it's doing, because by having that mapped out, you've got signposts as you go along. 6 months through the year, this is where we expect to be. At the end of the year, this is where we expect to be. You've got something to measure yourself against. And it also helps you to put down steps that you need to take during the course of a year. This year, we want to get $20,000 worth of sponsorship. And so you need to have your board members each seeking out 2 or 3 contacts for the purpose of sponsorship. By setting those objectives, that's how you're going to get your club to where you want to get to. And people within the organisation need to be reviewed every year. You need to review your coaches, and as a board you need to be asking whether they're doing the job that you want them to do. You can ask for their input in the same process, say fill in a form and they assess themselves, you assess them, but it all helps you to ensure that you're tracking in the right direction, that you're getting what you want out of your organisation. And perhaps as a final point, an induction process for new board members. So once someone comes onto the board, give them a copy, a folder with the Constitution in it. Please read this. Perhaps a copy of the strategic plan of the organisation, and details of the up-to-date financial position of the organisation, and perhaps a short history of the organisation as well. And so by enabling board members to get on top of where the organisation is and where it's come from, they can also help the organisation on its way forward to where it wants to get to.